So this morning, we're diving back into Discover the Power Within You, a fundamental unity book written by Eric Butterworth, who was a prolific writer and a charismatic speaker and an amazing teacher for many years. He had a ministry in New York that was 3,000 people. It was huge. Maya Angelou would go there. Maya Angelou, towards the end of her life, was made an honorary unity minister. So we're very proud of the fact that she claimed unity as her preferred spiritual path. What I want to do before I dive into this lesson is I want to talk about all the wonderful activities that are going on here in this community, because they're not happening by accident. They are happening intentionally. Your spiritual leadership team, your music team, your board, we're all working together to offer you what we can, a smorgasbord of different experiences to have. Because what we know, it's the gathering in the small groups, it's in the classes, it's in Sunday morning, it's in the fun activities that we do, the concerts, that transformation takes place, that miracles happen, because all of a sudden you can drop the control and recognize that you can be present, live life, and listen, have fun while you're doing it. I want to give a shout out to Suzanne Souls for absolutely magnificent one-woman show. She acted out all by herself the hero's journey, the journey of the Christ, the journey we all go through as we walk, coming from an understanding that life flows from within us, without into the world. So it was a beautiful, magical evening, Suzanne, and thank you. And those who weren't here, I hope you do it again, maybe in the new year. So we've got a wonderful class that started Monday night with Janine Hedberg, our licensed unity teacher here, called The Eye of the Storm. This is a really important book for the work we're doing, because we're cleaning up the space to draw to us what wants to emerge from within us. Does that make sense to you? So the eye of the storm is about how no one and nothing is against you. Do you believe it? How many of you have a laundry list of ways that you can say, that's not true? Well, that's not true. What about this? What about this? So this is based upon spiritual principles. There's one presence and one power. And if we believe in our human oneness with this divine power, then how could anything be against us? It's all for us. It awakens us to a new way of being. We're about not just change, but transformation in unity. So now we're on the third discovery in Discover the Power Within You, the great choice. The great discovery was that we are divine expressions, that we have divinity within us, that a higher self, a higher observer, a higher wisdom can be found within us when we center ourselves into this awareness that there's more than the chatter of our mind, there's more than the emotions raging through our body, there's more than any illness, there's more than any lack. There's so much more to life if we turn away from all the evidence, false evidence appearing real, that's out in the world. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes it's pretty scary to turn on the news. And you wonder, how can people do this to other people? How can you do it to babies? How can you take a childhood and traumatize it? We're not in that awareness. We rise up to an understanding that love changes all things, that there is a way of looking at the outer through the eyes of God. And when we do that, we get some peace and some harmony and even joy. And then last week was the great decision. And that is realizing that you have the Christ within you. That Christ wasn't Jesus' last name. That Christ means blessed. You are blessed. You weren't born a miserable sinner. You were born blessed, an expression of life, a radiant expression of life. And along the journey of living that life, we sometimes forget how blessed we are with the multitude of obstacles that seem to be in our way. And let's look at obstacles from a different framework. An obstacle challenges us to see if our thoughts and our words and our emotions are really expressing the best of us out there. So the great choice then becomes, who are you willing to be? What's your purpose? And Jesus, who Unity considers the elder brother and way shower, not the only Son of God, but the example of a God-filled life, gave us the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5. And so the Sermon on the Mount begins with Jesus up on the hillside with the disciples all around him. And the crowds are in the distance, but Jesus is speaking to his disciples. And this is what he says. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God. They will claim that they are. Blessed are they who have been persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men shall reproach you and persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets that went before you. And where's heaven, the kingdom of heaven? It's found within us. It's most quickly found in our heart, not our head. Not that chattering voice that goes on and on and on, but within our heart when we feel ourselves connected to something greater. So the Beatitudes were like the core values Jesus told the disciples to model. Not the doing before the being. Who are you willing to be? What's your purpose? And this is a time as we go towards Thanksgiving and then into Christmas and into the new year where we begin to do that deeper dive into who we are willing to be. And so I invite you to just, as I read each of the Beatitudes, to hear it with new ears and to see what resonates with you. So blessed, to bless, is to evoke good upon, to call forth the action of God, to confer God's good on something or someone. Blessedness or happiness is a matter of spiritual adjustment to life under divine law. It's a lot of words, isn't it? But what it is saying is you are blessed if you be these things and act from these qualities of being, these attributes. That you will be blessed in ways you never could have dreamt possible. That miracles will be bestowed upon you if you come from an awareness of being open and receptive, loving, kind, generous, forgiving. The kingdom of heaven is a consciousness in which mind, soul, and body are in harmony with divine mind. To hunger and thirst after righteousness, the desire to align one's life with what is right and lasting, for they shall be filled. This attitude of mind brings with it the blessing of fulfillment. Do you ever feel empty? You ever sit down at the end of a day and think, wow, what did I do today? I'm exhausted. Do I feel fulfilled and joyful? Not really. That's a sign for me that I went through my day unconscious, not awake to the blessings that life has to give us. Caught up in the chatter here and the doing of what I think is important, when the most important thing to be and do is love and expression. To say yes to whatever is right before me, even when I don't want to, even when I don't think I can. But to nevertheless trust, yes, Lord, yes. I open myself to you. And through that flow of the grace of God, we're able to take the next step and the next step and the next step. We don't have to have the whole plan figured out. In fact, it's better if we don't. Now, this is spoken by a woman who plans incessantly, you know. I can spend a lot of nights just planning what's next and how to do it and what inspiration can I bring forth. But the fact of the matter is, just being willing to be present is enough. It is enough. That's how healing happens, is when we're present with love, when we're deeply listening with empathy. We allow someone the privilege of being heard, not fixed, not controlled, but to be heard and to be seen for who you are. Suzanne, I saw your radiant expression in your one-woman show. I saw who you were, and it blessed this sanctuary amazingly. We're going to have other skilled people come and share their multitude of gifts with you. But I got to say, every single Sunday, OMG, every single Sunday. And it's done with consciousness. What do I mean by consciousness? It's done in the awareness that it is not the vehicle, but it is the expression of the grace of God using that instrument that blesses us, increases us, allows us to create a future that's exciting and joyous. Wouldn't you agree? So it's really important that we take these Beatitudes seriously. The 10 Commandments were, thou shalt not. That's the Old Testament. Thou shalt not. Have you ever done that when you're talking? I did a lot when my girls were teenagers. Luckily, I've slowed down on that. Thou shalt not is in the New Testament is brought forward are blessed are those. Blessed are those. Jesus came to demonstrate the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. Our platform host one Sunday, Gary, said, here at Unity, we're about spiritual tools, not rules. And I love that. So what we want to do is create an experience for you where you have a takeaway from a Sunday service, from a class, from an art project. Wonderful, wonderful experiences happening in our art studio. I don't know many churches who have something like that, Suzanne, so bless you for bringing it forward. Do you like the grounds? Do they look better every single day? Dwayne and Bill are the prime contributors to the beauty of this land. We are grateful. We are truly grateful. Dwayne keeps it very light, unlocking our doors and preparing us for the day. It's a magnificent place to call home. And many of you say, I found home here. So I want you to think, what does that mean to you? I want you to write to me, Rev Carla at unitynaples.org, and tell me the miracles. Tell me your story. Why do you keep coming here? What is it that feeds your soul? What activity expresses who you truly are? I'm so grateful that you've got a place where you can create in a studio that's so beautifully designed for that. Because that's what we're about, creating our life experiences. What we do today is creating our future. And so we want to do that intentionally and with vision. We say that we want to share the idea that there is that within us that is wholeness. There's nothing missing from who we truly are. Inside of us is this essence that is pure, holy, and complete, just as it is. It was never born, it will never die. It is your consciousness. It continues on and on and on. And so that's a big responsibility, is to be that radiating center of love and peace and joy and generosity and justice for all people. Jesus was a big one for justice. So I want to start with making these a little more accessible to you. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. How many of you have listened to preachers say, you've got to be poor? You've got to go through the eye of the needle. You have to get rid of all your worldly possessions. And that's the only way to reach God or to have a spiritual enlightening experience. And what Butterworth says, the poor in spirit means that its spirit is translated as pride. So it's the pure in the blessed are those who are pure, who are humble, who are teachable, who are childlike. Do you have grandchildren? You have babies. You know when they smile, don't you feel like you've won the lottery? Look what I did. I made this baby smile. My grandson told me, you funny. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's what I want to be. That's what I aim to be, is wonderstruck at life and how we can make it easier than what's going on. So to be humble is an important attribute of God that Jesus demonstrated. We can certainly see a lot of narcissism around this world, can't we? Don't let it spill onto you. It's not helpful. Who you are shines through you, through the words you speak, the actions you take. That's what people will remember, how you made them feel. So be humble. Blessed are they that mourn, for they'll be comforted. This is an important part of choosing an attitude that will lift us up. Because in order to mourn, we have to recognize that we're missing something, that we've lost something. We have to recognize, well, wait a minute, I missed the mark too. Just like I'm saying so-and-so did this, so I recognize within me is the capacity to either feed one wolf or the other wolf. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, which one am I going to feed? You can feed either one. There's no right or wrong, but there are consequences with each. So blessed are those that mourn, for they will be comforted. This is about forgiveness. It's important that we grieve, and we have a grief group starting up in November, so take a look at that. Because when we're going through those times of pain, it's helpful to have somebody there just to witness, you're going to be all right, that this is just a normal part of life. I know when my daughter died, my biggest fear was that she didn't know how much I loved her. And I agonized over that. And one night I just had dream after dream of her picking up my hand and kissing it. She used to do that when we drive in the car. She'd reach over and pick up my hand and kiss it. And I thought, well, she must have known I love her. You know, we gather all the negative just like that. But we're Teflon for those positive, miraculous moments that we share with our loved ones. Because although they're gone in form, their consciousness lasts forever. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. What do you mean, the meek? Actually, Jesus is not talking about meekness as an approach to people. He is referring to an attitude towards God. He knew, I of myself can do nothing. He recognized that he was just a simple carpenter's son who found his spiritual unity with God. And in this discover, he had tapped into the secrets of the universe. But he knew that the miracle-working power that was now his came not to him, but from him. There isn't any situation you're called to face that you can't find some joy of knowing you're connected to a power greater. Sometimes you search in the dark for a while. And that's when you reach out to a prayer chaplain or get some spiritual counseling from your spiritual leadership team. Let us know what's going on with you. I truly mean it. I'm going to be looking for your letters of all that you have experienced here that keeps you coming back, that makes you want to donate. Every time I get here, I see Dwayne and Bill out there in the yard cutting down brush and cleaning things up. Did you notice the roof of the sanctuary? This is a happening place. And so in order not to miss anything, you got to show up. There is so much good on these grounds. Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they will be filled. We are promised we will be fulfilled, satisfied, joyful when we hunger and thirst for righteousness, not righteous anger or righteous judgment, but right thinking. We are all one with each other. We are living expressions of love in action. We can change the world with changing ourselves first, changing our thinking. So many of our thoughts are on automatic pilot. Just for a moment, what thought would you like to get rid of? What is it you're willing to release in order to experience something new tomorrow? Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. Nowhere is there an attitude of, blessed are those who have the biggest gun. Blessed are those who harm others. The right way is not always the easiest way, but the right way will always make you happy and you can have an experience of joy. We don't have to judge others, but we do have to take care of our own thoughts and emotions and actions and say, I'm sorry. You know, somehow saying I'm sorry in the unity movement that I've been a part of for so long is a dirty word. Saying I am sorry is a powerful statement of surrender. It allows for something different to come into the space. I'm sorry is one of the most powerful statements we can make. And so let's remember that. Blessed are they that have been persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so when I say to myself, okay, Carla, you're standing here in unshakable faith, knowing you can be used by a power greater than you to do something that maybe you don't see how to do right now, but you are open and willing to listen. And when you gather others around with you and you're willing to do that, then healing is contagious and spontaneous and exactly what we need to experience. As I close the talk today, I want to read again what Dave read. Decide the kind of world you want to experience, the kind of friends you want to have, the success you want to achieve, the kind of conditions you would like to manifest in your home, your church, your neighborhood, your office, and your art. And begin to think of the kind of thoughts that will draw them to you by the irresistible force of consciousness. And the wonderful corollary to this law is that when you build a consciousness of love and justice and friendliness and peace, you will no longer look or identify with any enemy or injustice. You actually walk in a magic circle of protection. So let's stay in that magic circle and let's share the good news with each other, and especially with me, Rev Carla, at unitynaples.org. Thank you all.